We continue to count down to Bills training camp with some of the most anticipated storylines of the season. Maddy Glab here alongside Bills insider Chris Brown. We are presented by Connors and Ferris today. One of the biggest storylines has to be what this Bills offense could look like in the 2022 season. And first off, I'm so excited to see Dorsey's stamp on this offense with some of the added weapons that the Bills have this season. I mean, the opposing defenses, be warned, because this could be a pretty explosive offense. So, Chris, how do you think they could look different this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think we look at what could change here, and obviously, as you mentioned, it's Dorsey's stamp on it. I'm anticipating a more aggressive approach offensively. This is a team that's entrenched in this system on the offensive side of the ball. As Dorsey has said, a lot of it is going to remain the same. The terminology is the same. So they can really hit the ground running here, incorporate the new pieces. But I think because of that runway that exists already, even though Dorsey is a first-time play caller, he's been here for 3 years, he knows what works, what doesn't. He'll incorporate the new pieces, and I think he'll have the confidence to take an aggressive approach with the talent he has at his disposal.
Okay, so bigger picture there. In 2021, the Bills averaged just under 30 points a game, 28.4, which ranked 30 in the NFL. And they also had the fifth best offense overall. So Josh Allen is entering his fifth NFL season. Where did the time go in his first few years in the NFL? I can't believe he's already entering year 5. But taking a look at just Josh Allen, how do you think he can improve in his 5th season?
Yeah, I mean, we heard that he wanted to improve on throwing players open to establish a better yards after catch total for this team. They finished, I think, 30th in yards after the catch last year, which, okay, if you're going to nitpick for a top 5 offense and you want to find something where they can get better, that's probably one area. I think that Josh wants to also have a higher completion percentage. He was about a little over 64% last year. The year prior, he was closer to 70%. I think he wants to get back to that number. So increasing the efficiency rate of this passing game, I think, is another area where he definitely wants to be better. And you know, you can look at all of the throws from last year and decide, well, is that one on Josh? Is that on the receiver? Is it on the weather conditions? Is it on the defense? I'm sure they've diced it up seven different ways to Sunday, but I think at the end of the day, he wants to be a more efficient passer as well.
He had 42 total touchdowns in 2021, which ranked second in the NFL, but also had 15 interceptions, which tied for second most. So he's talked about, I want to cut down on limiting some of those interceptions and giving the team more opportunities to score. And when you look at Josh Allen and Ken Dorsey, the fact that they've been together for several seasons already, Sean McDermott pointed this out during minicamp. He said, I think we are light years ahead because we have an offensive coordinator in Ken Dorsey. So the pairing of those two, it's the obvious is, of course, they're a step forward. But if you get into it a little bit more, why do you think they're going to start off on the right foot instead of, okay, we need to ramp up here. We got to learn the terminology. We got to do X, Y, Z. Why are they already at step 5 here?
Because of what you said. There is a base and a foundation that already exists based on their prior relationship and the fact that the scheme is staying largely the same. So that allows them to refine certain things or put in some new things to say, hey, let's see if this works well with the complement of weapons that we have. I think the other thing that's going to happen here is, even though I am anticipating a more aggressive approach, I think it's going to be based on calculated risk, not reckless abandon, like let's just throw caution to the wind and chuck it all over the field. And so you say, well, how do they do that? So I think they can be more aggressive by spreading the field more often, empty backfield type stuff. But I think also to help Josh with his completion percentage and keep it an efficient offense, we could be looking at more shorter completions, high efficiency throws that are more likely to be completed than, say, the 50-yard bombs down the field. Now, that's not to say they're not going to call shot plays. They'll have their share of those within the scope of the offense. But I think this offense has advanced to a point where they can be aggressive, take calculated risk, while also being a high efficiency offense.
Okay, you talked about some of the things that the Bills could do differently, those short passes. One thing that I'm excited about, just because of Ken Dorsey himself, we know his record at Miami, 38-2, which is wild. This guy knows how to win football games, and I love that he's seen the game from a vantage point of being a quarterback. He knows what it's like to be in those moments. He knows what it's like to probably have some really unique weapons on a team. And when you look at this roster, we have some new players. We have an O.J. Howard. We have a James Cook. We have a Jamison Crowder. What new pieces to this offense could add a new wrinkle?
Yeah, well, Cook is the one that stands out because it's a weapon out of the backfield that they haven't had before in the Sean McDermott era. So you take a guy with polished route running skills from the running back position, also the guy who's got the fastest 40 time in the offensive backfield at 4.42, and provided that he is quick on the uptake, he's going to be on the field just because of the skills he provides from that position. He offers a varied number of options to Ken Dorsey coming out of the backfield or lining up out wide. So he adds an air of unpredictability to the offense from the offensive backfield. So that's number one. Number two, and I've said this before, I believe Jamison Crowder is a better yards after catch receiver than Cole Beasley. They're both accomplished. They both have their set of strengths. But I think what Crowder brings is more yards after the catch. He's not just going to get to the sticks and fall down. There may be an 80-yard touchdown in there somewhere where he's running 60 of those yards. So because of that, I think you can point to the short completions to guys like Cook, to guys like Crowder, but they can turn them into something much bigger than that.
Expectations for this offense. Are you expecting this offense to be a better offense than it was last season? This was one of the best offenses in the NFL last season, but with some of those added pieces, are you expecting them to take that step forward?
Yeah, it's hard to say because we don't really know what Dorsey is going to be as a play caller. His decisions in what to call are going to be just as important as how well the execution is on the field. I want to have some resolute faith in a guy that's sat in the quarterback position before, knows how to call things, but it's different on game day when that play clock's running down and you have to have the right play for the right time and the right coverage that you're anticipating. So that's a work in progress, but I think because of the runway that this offense has produced in the past, you have an all-world player in Josh Allen at the most important position on the field, I would anticipate more of the same based on what we've seen in the past. And that's a team that's scoring about 28, 29 points a game and is producing in the red zone and is unpredictable because of the new weapons that they've added that creates a more balanced offensive situation. I'm not saying balance in terms of run as much as they pass, but balance in terms of being able to spread the wealth across the offensive front.
Yeah, talking to new quarterbacks coach Joe Brady, he said, number one, we have Josh Allen, and that is what helps this offense so much. We've seen what he's done in the last 4 seasons. Year 5 should be really exciting. I also think another thing that could help is, fingers crossed, a healthy and steady offensive line. The Bills did not have that last season. They had guys in and out of the lineup. Hopefully that is not the case for 2022, but that's just a couple ways that the offense could look different and maybe even better this season. So if you guys want any more training camp content as we count down to training camp, please head to BuffaloBills.com. For Chris Brown, I'm Maddy Glab. We'll see you guys in Rochester.